episode of Rambling with Seven. I'm your host, Seven. Duh. On today's topics, we are going to do my top 10 rereads for ever. Because, there are a handful of books that I would just reread over and over and over again. But first, let's get to the things that get my knickers in a hide. So, Beyonce won Album of the Year yesterday, right? And of course, it was for Cowboy Carter, and there was a lot of controversy about whether or not she is a country singer. Duly noted. However, this is your daily reminder that you can dislike someone and not be racist. You can say, oh, I do not like this person, without saying there's nothing about her that is country. She needs to leave it to the real country singer. She was born in Houston. She's from Houston. Okay? She's from Texas. Relax. We all know we know the undertones. We get it. But let's all just scale it back, dial it back. You can dislike her all that you want. There is nobody saying that you have to like her. Well, the Beehive is saying that you have to like her. But that is another topic in and of itself. I don't want no smoke with the Beehive. But yeah. Stop. Just say congratulations and move along. I get it. She won a few things the other night. And y'all mad. Alright, but let's keep it cute. Alright, let's keep it cute. On today's drink of the day, we have Dr. Pepper and peanut butter whiskey. Don't worry. I will not give you another rant about peanut butter whiskey. About how I love peanut butter. So when I watched that back, I was like, man, that was a long rant. And it started to sound like Bubba from Forrest Gump. Not gonna hold you. But yeah, alright. And on to today's topics. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 books. But one is sister books, I guess? I don't know. We'll get to it. It's towards the bottom of the list. These are not in any particular order. Again, because I think that's rude. So. But the first one is Under a Falling Star by Jay. Under a Falling Star, I don't know if it's not really enemies to lovers. They go into enemies to lovers, or at least one-sided. Anyway, a lady goes and starts working at a place, at a facility, and everybody's telling her that, they can't stand this one lady, that she's so evil, that she's so mean, she's a tyrant. And so she's like, oh my God. The girl's name is Danielle. But then when she meets the lady, she tells her, first off, before there's even any type of introduction, she's going off about how terrible Danielle is. And so the lady is like, and then she finds out. Well, she tells her that her name is D. D, Danielle. Get it. And eventually she finds out after they do all the things, and she's like, oh my God, I cannot believe you. and she goes on a hissy fit. But eventually she wins her back. Now, me, personally, I like to introduce myself to people. Well, before I start talking ish about people, I like to at least know that I'm not, because I am one of those awkward people that will end up in that situation where I'm talking about the person to them. That would totally be the story of my life. That is what happens to me a lot. At work, I'll be having a conversation with somebody, everything will be fine. And then they'll be like, oh, they died. What? How did we go from skipping along? And no lie, it has happened to me probably once a week at work. You would think I'd be used to it. No. Who gets used to that? Anyway. Next one, Flavor of the Month by Georgia Beers. This is going to be a long list, ain't it? It's my ramblings that be really doing it. But anyway, Flavor of the Month by Georgia Beers. Now, that one starts off with the couple. They were together. They were each other's first everything. And then this girl, one of them, gets with this girl. And is like, I'm too good for you now. I don't want to... Like, she just stops answering her phone calls and things. It's rude. But she gets with this older chick that has money and power. And, you know, she's like, oh, you're so pretty and you're so smart. Come work for me. And then slowly she starts to pretty much pull her into her world. So much that she's no longer connected to her old life, like her family and old friends and all of that. Like, she's pulled away from just about everybody. Well, then the girl gets another young hot tenderoni and drops her. Literally, unceremoniously. With somebody named Tatiana. And I just thought that it was so hilarious because I know so many Tatianas. I have known so many in my life. And they were like, doesn't that just sound like the name of somebody that's coming to wreck your relationship? And I was like, hilarious. I think I've made my wife listen to both of these. Now, my beef with Georgia Beers with this book is that there were just so many untied loose ends. And Georgia, we are beefing. I have asked Georgia if she was going to make a part 2 to this book, and she said she had no plans to. How am I supposed to know how it ends? Like, the book literally ended on an I love you. And I'm like, that's cute. But what about all of these different things? Does Emma get to know her little brothers? Do they live to be happily ever after? How is their actual relationship? Does the girl, like, get half the bakery or whatever? Like, what happens? And I am so invested, and so, like a lot of things, like a lot of books, I was like, you know what? I'm going to write the book. I'm going to rewrite this book, make it completely different, something unrecognizable, but I'm going to finish it. I am going to finish it. Have I started? No. What happened? Okay, so I'm in the middle of quite a few books, actually, that I'm supposed to be writing. And what happens, there's a book on here, like, 2 down, is that I will take the concept of the book and I will rework it. And then I'll rework it again. And then I'll rework it so much that it is something that I'm like, how did I get here? I think I started off with a rewrite, like with a fan fiction of The Lily and the Crown, which is also on this list, further down. I started off with a fan fiction and somehow ended up with unicorn people, like shape shifting unicorns. How did we get here? Who is a shapeshifter in this book? I don't know. But that's just one example. Turbulence by EJ, I want to say Noise. I am not sure how to pronounce that last name. But that book, the only thing that I am bothered by with Turbulence is that it is only one POV. I like dual POVs. I like to know what everybody is thinking and when. It just makes me feel better connected to all of the characters. So that was probably my only critique about that one. Now that is about a pilot and is she a stockbroker? Wealth manager? I think she's a wealth manager. But they have a one night stand, and then the wealth manager finds out that is their private. They have a private jet with their company. She finds out that's their captain. There's their new employee. Like a few hours later. So that's always good stuff, right? Always. I love this book, and I love it because there's like this wealth disparity, but like, one, she's a captain. It ain't like she broke. Plus, she has her own freaking plane. So like, the girl keeps trying to pretty woman her, and I'm like, but she's not broke though. Like, she can't be. She owns her own plane. And sure, she probably does not have wealth manager money. But also, she has money. And then Rekindled by Erica Lee. I have read this book and literally read Erica Lee, BTW. Why is it not on Audible? So that I can listen to it. These are questions that need answers. Thank you. But Rekindled is about a divorced couple that has a child together. They live separately. And it's a little weird because the child is biologically connected to the mom that's in Pennsylvania. I think she's in Pennsylvania. I can't remember. Which is strange because I've read it so often. But I think she's in Pennsylvania. Who knows? We'll call it Pennsylvania. But the mom that's in Pennsylvania, it was her brother's kid. Her brother passed in an accident. He and his wife passed in an accident. So they took on the daughter. Made her theirs. And then they ended up, like, there was a lot that ended up happening. A lot of grief, a lot of things that were transpiring. And the other girl, her mom needed support because she was going through a lot health-wise. So then she needed to move to Florida. But Pennsylvania girl did not want to go to Florida. She was like, no. I'm connected to my brother. This is his house. I want to stay here. And so she refused to leave. They ended up fighting a lot. They ended, in your grief, people say things that, shouldn't be said. The Florida girl takes the baby and goes to Florida. I was like, I wonder how we got to this conclusion. But it works. It fits. I don't know. I don't know. But I love that book. And I am going to reread it now. Probably tonight. Probably. Not gonna hold you. In the Long Run by Haley Cass. I cannot tell you how in love with Taylor I am. Miss Taylor Made to Travel. Brooke is alright. I don't know why in my head Taylor is the blonde and Brooke is the brunette. I don't know how I did it in my brain because it is the opposite. And they constantly say that Taylor is a brunette in the book. And every time I hear it, I'm like, nope, don't need that information. What am I supposed to do with that? Brooke is a blonde. And she's always tossing her blonde hair. And I'm like, no, still can't do anything with that. This is unnecessary information. Boop. I don't know. But I have listened to and it's a long one. It's a long, well, in the long run, but it's a long book. And I have listened to it several times. And I think it's narrated by Anastasia. I don't know what her last name is. I don't know. I guess I could look it up. I'm not. But yeah. Oh, that book is about so they used to know each other like when they were children. And Taylor has a lot of trauma that surrounds their hometown. But Brooke is the exact opposite, and given her history with the town, I'm like, I don't know why you left this place, but whatever. She's a city manager. She ended up being the city manager, and people are really crappy to her because she grew up poor. And now she's not. But they link back up because they're supposed to, Brooke is at a conference in like California, and that's where Taylor is staying. They meet at a bar, but Brooke is drinking a soda. And Taylor is like, is that you? Like, seriously? And for some reason, Brooke has like this disdain for Taylor because, Taylor's brother is Brooke's best friend. And I guess he's butthurt that as soon as she hit 18 and was able to, she hightailed it up out of there. But honestly, and I don't care if I end up owing my brother any money after I say this, but that town was full of bitches. I said it. They were rude to her, and I didn't like them. They were okay towards the end. But when she was young, like, the way that people treat kids, like, they have no value and, like, they are just supposed to let things roll off of their back because they are kids, I cannot stand it. Ugh. Every slow song. That's another divorce. They are going through a divorce. That's by Erica Lee as well. They are going through a divorce, but one of the girls did not tell her family about it. And her family goes on a yearly trip somewhere. I can't even remember. And it's crazy that I can't remember because I just read this book not long ago. And by read it, I mean listen to it. But, I'm not going to get into the politics that go into whether or not Audible is reading. However, the girl has not actually signed the papers. She has not told her family that they are going through a divorce. And so the other girl is like, when are you going to sign the papers? And why didn't you told your mama? Why is she calling me, asking me about this trip? And she's like, so about that. I may not have told them, and you see these little papers you want signed? I'll sign them on one condition. You gotta come with me. And the girl is like, what? And the girl is like, you want them signed or not? And the girl is like, fine. So then they ain't seen each other in forever. And they think that it's gonna be a good idea to sleep in the same bed and stuff. Because who did not see the bad things happening? Or the good things? Because, spoiler alert. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let y'all read it. Oh, but I really love Erica Lee. And Haley Cass. And Georgia Beers. And Jay. And EJ Noyes. And Monica McCallan. Alright. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Back to the Start by Monica McCallan. Back to the Start. I don't know if I know which one that is. There was supposed to be 2 Monica McCallans on here. Why do I only have 1? Back to the Start. Excuse me while I go figure out which book that is. I just gotta look at the main characters. Because Back to the Start and Back in Your Arms, obviously they have similar titles, but I reread both of them frequently. That's Remy and Fallon. Yes. Okay, so what upsets me about, the only gripe that I have with Monica and Haley, and Georgia, for that matter, is that sometimes it's a dual POV, which I love, my fave. Sometimes they'll hit me with a single POV, and I'm like, why did you not tell me this ahead of time? I wish that people would warn me. Not that I don't like the books, obviously, because I have read this book several times. Several. But still, I would like to know what Fallon is thinking. Anyway, so how do I explain this book without giving spoilers? Girl blows into town. She's really smart. Other girl is popular cheerleader that is actually really smart, but really not a pliant of the smartness to her studies. She'd rather do anything else pretty much. She's a cheerleader. Most popular girl in school, town sweetheart. Well, everybody in the town is not all that great. You know, high schoolers. Somebody found out that they, might have kissed the night before. Wrote the D word. I refuse to say it. But wrote the D word on her locker. And she was like, oh my God, how could you? And the other girl was, like, she didn't tell anybody. But, like, also, or I think she did tell somebody. And then that person told other people. But that's not the important part. Why is my child calling me? She doesn't call me. She must need some money. Anywho. ADHD. Okay. She didn't tell anybody. But she's like, well, she told her friend who told her other friends, and so it was a problem. Everybody found out. But, of course, she's like 18. She doesn't want to tell everybody. She's like petrified that everybody's going to be like, oh, you're gay. So, she was just like, and the other girl was like, I cannot believe you told these people. And you made a fool of me. That's what happened. They end up working it out. Obviously. Because who would read a book without that? And so that leaves me, because I don't know why Back in the Arms is not on here, but Back in Your Arms by Monica McCallan. That is about Quinn and Sawyer. Sawyer, antique restorer with a butthole brother. And Quinn, a real estate agent. Trying to sell the house that belongs to Sawyer, but her punk brother is like, oh, is this my house? This is my house. I can sell this to you. Because he answers the door when Quinn knocks on it. So, of course. And so it was a big to-do, back and forth. They end up rekindling. Their story is so cute. I recommend it. If I had to recommend one or the other, Back to the Start or Back in Your Arms, I don't know which one. It would probably be Back in Your Arms because that's dual POV. But if I am honest with myself and you, I think I don't know. This is why I can never rate or rank my books. I don't know. Read them both. The Lily and the Crown. The Lily and the Crown is about a pirate queen going undercover. She's under disguise, and I almost called her a phlebotomist, which is something completely different than a botanist. Yeah. So it's about a pirate queen and a botanist. She is like 20. I don't typically like age gap. However, Miss Rosalind Sinclair did not let us know what the age of the other lady was. I know that she is not 50. But it does say that she has like a gray streak of hair. I forget what they called it. But that book was really good. And like the pirate queen is like, nobody knows what she actually looks like, and so she's under disguise as a slave that was given to, like, I forget what her dad is. She's like a princess, I think, though. She was given as a slave to the princess, and the princess is like the little 20-year-old. She's like, oh my God, after they do for the first time. She's like, do you feel like I pressured you? You know, I am in a position of authority. Oh my God. And the pirate queen is like, she like laughs at her. She's like, nah. If anything, I pursued you, but no, you could not force me to do a single thing. Rest assured, you could not force me to do anything. Not a thing. And I really have to go re-listen to that book actually now. It's been a little while since I've re-listened to that. I've gotten away from listening to books so much because if I listen to books, I cannot read books and vice versa. For some reason, my brain can either do one or the other at a time. And so I know that listening to books is going to take a while to get into again. And then once I start listening to books again, I will not be able to read. It'll be a struggle. I'll be like, the cat... it's a struggle. And I don't know if that has anything to do with the ADHD or if that's something that's completely different. I don't know. But there you have it. The Forever Factor by Melissa Braden. Now, that is it's a dual timeline. And it kind of frustrated me, not gonna lie, because that is one of those that it would be right at the good part. And I'm like, yes! And then she'd be like, okay, we're going back to present day. And I'm like, I will hurt you. Highly recommend. When You Least Expect It, and its sister book, Better Than Expected. Now, I liked When You Least Expect It more. I honestly think that this could have been one book. Haley Cass is pretty much known for long books, so I just feel like we could have married them together, and then I could have had my dual POV, Haley. I could have had my dual POV and been happy. But I think that I liked When You Least Expect It more because, well, I liked Caroline more. I'm not going to lie to you. Hannah was a lot in her head, and I was like, God, get me out of here. She was a overthinker of overthinkers. But Better Than Expected had a lot more spice than When You Least Expect It. And it was good. So, there you have it. And then, last but not least, The Road to You by Harper Bliss. That was not a dual POV. That was basically two people that kept running into each other that started off as enemies, and then I think that one of the girls was just like, I really don't like you, and just kind of stuck with that. And the other girl was like, but why though? Like, I'm pretty cool. But in all honesty, I think what ended up happening was that the girl that was like, I don't really like you, I think that her issue was that the girl was really cute. And I think that I think she really always liked her and had a crush on her. But the way that they met, she found her in a compromising position with a professor. And being the goody two-shoes that she is, she was like, oh my God, is that why you're getting such good grades? No, because I'm better than you at this one topic, at this one subject. Like, get over yourself. But of course, she did not. So, but she eventually did. And they lived happily ever after. Eventually. There was something at the end of that one when she was like, one of the girls was like, I never want to get married. And the other girl was like, oh no. She wants to get married, but she's like, oh, it's fine. I'm just happy to be with you. And I feel like that is unfair. I feel like you can't really force the subject either way. Like, if you are somebody that really wants marriage, then you should be with somebody that wants to be married. And vice versa. Like, in that situation, who ends up compromising? I know for me, my wife was like, I'm never getting married. Apparently, she told a lot of people that. And I was like, oh, okay. Then we not gonna be together. She told me that pretty early on in our relationship, and I was like, well, you gonna either have to figure it out or we can't be together. Because marriage is in the cards for me, buddy. Sorry, not sorry. So, yeah. But that wraps up my list. I don't know how long this is. I feel like it's longer than 30 minutes, though. But it's cool. It's cool. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share. And if you ever need me, all of my handles and all of my socials will be listed down below. Thank you so much for watching again. Mwah.